Hey, before we get started, I want to do a huge thank you to our top tier YouTube members: World Champ Level A, Triple Crown Tramps Parma Chisel, Grand Slam Freak Maniac 90210, and Raz. If you want to donate or anything, all that unfortunately is currently turned off on YouTube until we can figure things out on that end. But until then, we do have links below for merchandise, Patreons, and stuff like that. Or just follow on social media, hit the like or subscribe. That helps out more than you know. Linktree for all that stuff below. Also, support my guest links. All their links are below with t-shirts, merchandise, and all that also fantastic stuff. So without further ado, let's get some music by the Converse Kid and start episode 137, Late Night with the Devil with Dante. What's going on, everybody? We are live on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. So if you guys are all here, I will try to put everyone's chats up while we go. This format is a little different than the watch-alongs. It's still podcast format. We will get to using the chat and put your things up. So if we don't acknowledge you, please, we're not ignoring you. We love you all. Just give us a little time to talk and do our thing. But we are reviewing Late Night with the Devil for Not Cool in High School Horror, episode 137, with a returning guest, Dante Elizabeth James, one of my favorite humans on the planet. Love them so much. And I'll say this before we get started: a lot of huge changes for me. Finally landed the job I've been trying to get. I got a car, not a brand new car, but we got a car so I can drive. First time driving a car that's my own in almost 2 years. So that's very exciting, or a year, but super excited. A lot of positive things changing in my life. If you want to support the podcast, all links are below. There are merchandise. If you do want to grab some merchandise, there are a few logos that are available. I didn't post that in here. I dropped the ball on that, but there's 4 logos that rotate every month. So if you want to go grab them, there's a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, an old WCW wrestling, a wrestling pay-per-view spoof, and then there's a 420 shirt that kind of looks like the Austin 316. A lot of pro wrestling stuff, but that all swap out on the 13th with some new logos. So we'll put that up very soon. Also, links below for my guests. Follow them on all social media, and let's have some fun. Let's bring in my guest tonight, Dante Elizabeth James.
Woo! Hi guys.
I'm gonna be honest. So I peeped the Instagram a little bit before you went live, and I seen the T-shirt, the Walking with Sin T-shirt.
A walking sin.
A walking sin, which I love. And I was wearing once because I'm a huge pro wrestling nerd. I was wearing a pro wrestling T-shirt. And I immediately ran into the room and I grabbed a Black Craft shirt. It's hard to see, but it is 100% a devil pentagram. You know what I mean?
Oh, love it.
We had to go full devil tonight with Late Night with the Devil. This movie, man, it did something for me. You know, I going through everything we kind of talked about before is just like, it was hard for me to watch movies and get into movies and stuff like that. And I watched a few, and this one really, like, I want to watch more. Like, this kind of refound my love for films and doing this. And I don't know, it brought fresh air back into me with this one. And I'm very excited. And you're a very special guest to do this. Once again, my mom, who has really never watched my podcast in years, is downstairs, like, tuned in an hour before the show because they fell in love with your interview.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah. She's nuts, but I'm very excited. So thank you everyone for joining through. If you're brand new, make sure you hit that like, subscribe. And if you have any things that you want to introduce into the movie, please do so. We will put it up on the screen, and let's have some fun. But so I kind of reached out to you and I said, what's a movie you pick? And you picked this one. You picked Late Night with the Devil.
Okay, because I was so curious about it, because I felt like everyone was talking about it. When everyone's talking about a movie, I'm that kind of person that I need to see it just to see what everyone's talking about. Like, I don't even care what movie it is. I watched Oppenheimer and I fell asleep halfway through. So it doesn't matter what movie it is to me. I just want to see what everybody else sees and see if it's worth the hype. So then this movie came out, and I believe like there was like, I don't know if it was true or not, but supposedly it made like 6,600 and 6,600, some kind of like all these six numbers, the opening night and stuff. And I was like, oh my God.
Your microphone's banging off your necklace. Just
sorry.
Sorry. I think it's your chain. It's hitting off the pendant on your chain.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got it.
Just giving you a heads up.
There we go. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know about the 666 thing. We'll figure that out. This one is interesting because this I don't know. Did this go to theater? Is this a theater release?
It did.
Because it was when it, I guess, not in theaters, it went to Shudder or AMC Plus, which is interesting because Shudder's great if you're just really into horror niche, and if you are into horror movies and you're looking for really cool stuff to watch. Not sponsored by them, but if you'd love to, I would take a membership in a heartbeat. Shudder. I mean, Shudder is hands down the best site when it comes to horror, and you can get it through like your Amazon Prime thing. But I'm gonna be honest, I don't really like the way the app is set up through Amazon Prime. You can't search everything the same way as you can on the Shudder app, and the Shudder app is still kind of wonky too. So that's my only critique. I'm not gonna sit there and praise them all. I got to give a little bit of stuff in there, but yeah, definitely a great app if you're into the horror movie stuff. Yeah,
Anthony, if you want them to sponsor you, you have to say they're a great app. They're great. It ran great. Everything was great about it.
You could be better if you fix the things I'm telling you to fix.
I love that. No, and that's why I watched it. I wanted to ask you if you wanted to watch it because I knew that I was going to watch it with a couple of my girlfriends and JB and like do a movie night. And then I was like, I'll probably watch it again before we do the podcast. So I was like, I have a couple times that I could watch it and really get into it. You know what I mean? So, and I'm happy. And also I figured, Anthony, it was something new for both of us that we could talk about. It wasn't like an old movie which I don't mind, but it was also something new. Yeah.
So what I really got with this is I'm finding myself as a reviewer. Obviously this content is still brand new and I'm still finding out how I want to do it. But this one was really interesting because like not this one, but the way I'm trying to watch them is even if I've seen it before, I like today at like noon, I was like, I'm gonna put the movie on, and I looked over at the clock and I go, I have to wait until 9 o'clock tonight, and my ADHD brain is gonna do 13 other things before I start this, and I'm gonna forget aspects of the movie. So I have it literally timed out where we finished this movie at 8:30. So I ran in. And like I'm fresh, like that's kind of how I'm coming into these episodes, is like that fresh. Like I watch it and I leave my room, I sit right here, I send you a link, and I'm ready to just verbal diarrhea.
And that's what we did too. I was like, JB, we gotta start watching this at this time because I need to be done by 8 so I could put back in my extensions, take a couple pictures, film a couple TikToks, and get ready for the podcast. Like I gotta be done at 8 o'clock. And Anthony, I took notes. I have notes on my computer here. I'm like, yep, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready.
So you've already been booked for future episodes on all reviews. Like we're here.
Listen,
right here.
Listen, Anthony, I am always prepped and ready. Okay, I am in advance. I was taking notes the first time I watched it, and then I was like, you know what, JB, I need to take more notes because there's stuff that you miss too. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I was like, I need to take more notes. You're trying to find
those spots where you're like, I can quick get something in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Actually, I just watched a movie on some streaming platform that had commercials in it, and at first I was annoyed. I'm like, why is there commercials in a movie? For doing reviews and taking notes, the commercials were amazing because I was able to reflect during the 30-second ad break and be like, no.
Yes.
Movie's back. I'm like, I need this more. I'm all for commercials on movies, you know? But let's dive into this real quick. So Late Night with the Devil is a 2023 supernatural horror film written and directed by Colin and Cameron Carnes. If I mess up names, I'm terrible with them, so forgive me for that. It incorporates element of documentary style filmmaking and found footage. The film follows the events of a late night talk show host that aired the night of Halloween 1977 during the host attempts to boost ratings by inviting an alleged possessed girl onto the show. that's essentially what the plot is. I'm not going to go through everyone in it or anything like that, because once again, I'll just butcher names and you don't need that in your life. It was released March 10, 2023 in XSSW. Not sure what that means. On March 22nd in the United States. Maybe that's a film festival thing.
Oh, yes, it was.
South by Southwest. Yep, that's exactly what it is. And then April 11th in Australia. Its runtime is 93 minutes. The countries it is done is Australia, United Arab Nations, and United States. So I'm guessing they have different languages or maybe dubbed. I'm not sure. The box office, it made $11.5 million. So that kind of shoots down the thing. The devil. But so another thing we're trying is, it's a website called doesthedogdie.com. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I kind of talked about in a previous episode, especially on the horror movie side of things. Horrors are hard genres for certain people to consume because there can be really triggering and sensitive material for people in there. A lot of horror does, really horrible SA scenes and R scenes, and that's not easy for people to consume. So before certain reviews, if you've never seen it, I like to tell people to check out this website, and I like to go through some things. I'm not going to go through the whole website because, I got to give you something to do. I can't help you with everything. But it does kind of give a few big triggers that if that's something that bothers you, it will break down not only if it's in it, if people can vote it, if it's yes or no. And then it'll also give a synopsis of what the trigger may be, so you're kind of prepared before you go in. So if you want to, please go check out doesthedogdie.com, and and we'll kind of go from there. So, wowzer, this movie, when I turned it on, I was like, how are they going to do this? And they start off with like a really cool, like they said, the docu side of it, where it's like, this is a documentary based on very
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I love that.
It's a great analogy. Where it was very,
and that
similar.
Guy's voice too. Yes. That guy's voice that was talking. Oh, I love it.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre has that really good voice in the beginning, like in Texas, like but this one's cool because it's going to talk about the 70s satanic panic. It's going to talk about the TV show The Night Owls, which was like a late night Johnny Carson show, and it kind of inserts the show into reality by putting it against the Johnny Carsons and saying this is a real show that really happened. It kind of went to that. The look of the movie was showing a very modern camera, so it still looked high def and everything like that. So you're not going to get really that horrible film quality. It's very legible. It's not like you're watching an old VCR, but there is filters and things and camera tricks that they did use in this movie that really gives it that 70s, you're watching on a tube TV, but it's still high definition look.
I have that in my notes where I love how they didn't film in widescreen. I like that, how it was like in a box TV.
So the one I will remember, Jack Delroy, is the host of this show. It's successful, but it's always second. It's always third. It can never break to the top. And things start to kind of fall for Jack in the programming. The ratings are going down, and he has ties to Bohemian Grove, which, at the time, no one really knows Bohemian Grove. It's probably more known now than it was in the 70s, but there's ties to this Bohemian Grove, which is very culty and stuff like that. Which, fun fact about Bohemian Grove is it's weird how, like, and I'm saying this as like a member of the LGBT community. I'm kind of throwing it at you, right? Because I think like a lot of times when they would try to like blackmail or like you have to do these things to get into Hollywood, a lot of it was like gay, like they had to do like a gay act, like they like that's the thing. Oh, you would go like Reagan said, it was one of the gayest places I've ever seen in my life. It's men on men, but it wasn't so much they were into it. It was like a punishment or like a hazing. But now in like this is why right wing and scary people don't want LGBTQ rights, because then they can't use it against each other anymore. They're like, wait a second, I can get all this money and I just do what I normally do. I'm in. You can't blackmail me because it's socially accepted. That's the reason why. They're ruining Hollywood,
Okay, I didn't know we were getting into conspiracy theories now, Anthony. Now, how much time do you have?
That might have been a little bit of the devil's lettuce we had beforehand coming out, but that's just my stupid theory. But it's all in jokes, but there's probably truth to it.
No, I would. Now that you said it, now you have me thinking. Now I'm like, wait a minute, what the fuck? That actually no, because when someone tells me something and like I could see it being true, I'm like, wait a minute. That could totally be the reason why.
Yeah, it's hard to use it as leverage when it's no longer leverage, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yes. Real quick, I wanted to bring up something because someone said it in here and I needed to bring it up because we dived right into the movie. So I just wanted to say though,
yeah.
Did you notice that there was 9 production companies on this film in the beginning of the movie?
I did not know. I think someone brought it up too.
Anthony, there is 9 production companies, and I don't know if they're like fucking with us or if it's true or not. But we were sitting there the first time I watched it. We were sitting there. We literally thought it was a joke with how many production companies there were. We were sitting there like, is this serious? Like, is this because it was just. You know how the production companies have like ads in the beginning and they show their logo and all of that? Yeah. There was 9 of them. When we're done with this podcast, go watch just beginning.
I wonder if that's like the same thing as like there's like TKO Media is ran by Ari Gold, which is loosely based on the TV show Entourage. But essentially what they did was they all got together, all more rich people got together and became more rich. And then they went and bought like the UFC and the WWE and all these media companies and agencies and movie studios and TV studios. So it's all under one umbrella, but it's a bunch of people putting their money in to help one overall goal. And the drive-in just said it. So it's 9 different Kickstarter backers who made up the LLCs. So this movie was funded on Kickstarter.
That makes so much sense. See, I'm so happy that we have y'all in the chat.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. If it was 9 producers or something along those lines coming together. So as I was saying it, Drive-In's like, I'm on it.
Yes, but that makes so much sense now. But we were just sitting there like, holy shit.
So there's something at the end of the movie. It doesn't ruin the plot. I'll say it now. But we kind of took a screenshot of the screen here. And it says the filmmakers acknowledge traditional owners and sovereign custodian lands on which this film was made. I'm going to mispronounce this, but the Wandorian people and the Wu-Rang language group, we extend our respects and ancestors to all the First Peoples nations, past, present, and future. So was this movie filmed on Indian burial ground or like Indian land?
Where did JB noticed where it was filmed? It was filmed in Australia.
Okay, so I guess they're acknowledging in Australia we call them the native people. They call them the elders. So that's probably what's going on there. They probably used original. My mom's here. What's going on? Yeah, we're live right now. My mom wants to say hi. Yeah, hi. Please come on over. Sorry. So I'm so sorry. My mom's a super fan of Dante. Look at.
Hi. Awesome. Thank you so much. You're awesome.
All right, we're live. I know. All right. Fuck off.
Bye. Nice meeting you.
That's crazy to me. Anyway. First Nation elders. There you go.
By the way, the drive-in said that he was joking about the Kickstarters.
Oh, it might be a half truth. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So drop in from mom there. All right. Yeah. So they kind of shout out to the elders of the nation, I guess, because where it was filmed. But yeah. So back to kind of where we were. Okay. His wife then soon after the stuff with Bohemian Grove comes down with lung cancer, and she was not a smoker. Which they
his wife Madeline,
yes. So he takes about a month off the show. He comes back and tries to get a little more controversial with his content. Almost goes like a Jerry Springer route where he's doing fake fights and fake arguments with guests, and he's doing everything to try to pull in ratings, and it's not working. They're at the point where they might be pulling the plug. He's not 100% on his game, and on Halloween night they're going to bring in a psychic medium. They're going to bring in a absolute person who's a skeptic who tries to debunk everything, and then they're going to bring in someone who has this book about demon possessions, and they're going to possibly bring in this little girl who went through a possession on air, which realistically is all the makings of a great late night TV show.
Yes,
like, here's
100.
someone who thinks they that can speak to the dead, and then someone who's the asshole skeptic who's gonna shit on everything.
Yep.
And then the other side of doing a live possession on TV. Which is dope. So yeah, and then they said this is the episode that filmed. So now it's going from documentary to here is the episode as well as behind the scenes footage. And they start right away as if we turned on the TV that day and the episode started, and they do like a late night. It's literally like you're watching a late night television show. The style of this movie was so cool. Like, I like how they did the beginning thing, and then everything was there is like you're tuning on late night show.
That, and I loved how they filmed between the commercial breaks, because I was wondering that before we turned it on. I was like, okay, so if this is like a TV show, how are they going to fill an hour and a half? Usually TV shows are maybe like an hour tops. So how are they going to fill an hour and a half? So when I saw the in-between shots, I was like, oh, okay, perfect. All right, now it's making more sense. I love that.
And we'll kind of go back to the in-between when we get to the first one, because there is a way they filmed it differently. Also too, I didn't because we're doing things a little differently. This obviously is going to contain major spoilers from here on out. We gave you like a rundown. I usually have on the bottom, this review does contain spoilers. So if you have not seen the movie and this will possibly ruin it for you, we would love your viewership, we would love your support, but we don't also want to ruin this movie. Or some people like the movie ruined and then they go like based on someone's opinion and go watch it. So hang out either way, however it works for you. But I definitely really recommend you guys take out a moment and go seek out this movie, watch it. It's amazing. All right.
Yeah.
So first guest comes on after they do their cheesy monologue, which I hate. This is why I hate late night shows, or it's like the corny laughing, joking. And
can I just say, I definitely like zoned out during his monologue, and I'm like, that's why his show sucks. And I'm not even like a real person in the audience or anywhere near there, but I definitely zoned out.
Well, that's actually good, because like to almost make a film that is being portrayed as a late night, the last thing you want to do is uninterest your crowd. But if it makes the crowd lean into the theory of they're watching a late night show more, I didn't even think of that until you just said that.
And sick. I loved this movie because also I didn't know what was going to happen next. You know what I mean? Like I was on the edge of my seat this whole movie. I write down in the notes of my thing is when I fell in love with this movie, and I was like, there is nothing that this movie can do right now unless they drop a giant turd on it. Like I'm in. This is like this is high on my list. But the first guest is Christu.
Yes, so Chris, I think you're great with guest names, because I have them written down. Guest one, guest two.
I got it. I got everybody's names.
All right. So Christu is the psychic medium. Foreign, I would guess Spanish, because he says "see" a lot. There's a lot of Spanish talk. And they're gonna do a medium crowd ship, and it's everything you've seen in the old school, where it's like a name is coming through. It starts with a
not even old school. They still do that. That Long Island medium with her nails and stuff. She walks into like a donut shop and she's like, "I'm hearing Kathy." You know, and then someone's like, "Oh my God, that's my mom." You know, and it's just that baiting shit is so funny to me. It is so funny.
That being said, if anyone knows, or if you are a psychic medium, I would love to have you on the podcast, because I've had so many opportunities to interview those, and it's always like private DMs, and then when it gets close to relating, like to do it, they always back out. Because they know I'm not the guest two of this. I'm not a skeptic who's gonna shit on you.
You're Carl. You are.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna be rude about it. You know what I mean? The only time I really turn into Carl when it comes to stuff like that is grief, and messing with people's grief is really sensitive, right? So if someone lost somebody and it was tragic, or their grieving process is really hard on them, they're gonna seek out people like that, and people like that are historically known to be predatory. and you're just cash grabbing people and cashing in on their tragedy. And that's where I have a real hard time when people are like, I'm into spirituality and this and that. I'm like,
Well, you know what I was wondering when I was watching it too is like, where do they learn this shit from? Like, to bait people like that? Like, how do you even learn? Like, not that I want to, I mean, maybe, but you're gonna see me next time and be like, I'm gonna be another psychic medium. No, but like, where do they, like, is there a school for scammers? You know what I mean? Like, where do they even learn this stuff?
It's probably like every other scene, like the pro wrestling scene. Like at one point in time, that was very like you had to know someone to get in type deal. Because it's carny. It's a carny lifestyle. Or maybe it's not. Or come on the show and prove me wrong. I'm willing for a conversation. But yeah, so I think it's kind of like that. If you really want to check out a good episode or a good show back in the day, Penn and Teller did a show called Bullshit. It used to be on Showtime, but you can still find a lot of episodes. But they do a whole episode on their take, because now there are people who are magicians who are teaching you how they do hypnosis and teaching you how to do magic, and they kind of break down like social norms and stuff like that, and they kind of say if it's bullshit or not.
Oh shit.
Yeah. I said that too. Carny vibe types. Well, that's kind of what we call like anytime you're tricking someone or you're trying to deceive someone, it is like pro wrestling.
100%.
Like,
yeah.
Pro wrestling is very carny. Like there's a carny aspect to pro wrestling. Like yeah. So anyway, first guest comes on, and the first reading they do, they're trying to pull out a name and
Peterman.
Yeah, and it just doesn't work. It fails miserably. The guy in the crowd just shits on him. He's like, yeah, well, maybe some other time.
Oh, he like stole the show. Stole the show. Yep.
And then he tries. Like he's kind of standing there, he's sweating, he's having a hard time, and then he kind of locks eyes with a family, and he goes over and he starts bringing up. I'm kind of paraphrasing, so I don't ruin the entire movie, so you can experience it. But he kind of talks to his mother and daughter, a mother and sister, and about their deceased one and how they unfortunately committed suicide and took their own life, and like has this real deep breakthrough moment that you're like, that's nuts. Like that's a serious thing that just happened there, and everyone falls in love with him again. And then he's about to go to commercial, and he has this like almost possession. His eyes turn white, the lights flicker, the lights pop, and he starts bringing up Minnie, and the host kind of looks like, well, and then no one's he's like, someone claim it, and nothing happens. He falls to the ground. He's visibly shaken up. He feels
his
sick.
eyes roll in the back of his
eyes
head.
turn
that
white.
Was sick. They went like, and it was like, it was so crazy.
I actually had to rewind it because I was taking a note at that point in time, and I rewound it and looked at his face again more. But they go to commercial, and then this is where we have our first commercial break. Now the entire screen, they follow him backstage, almost like when you're watching a runway performance where they show them quick change and like those behind the scenes stuff. It's kind of filmed like that, but it's all black and white. So now you know the difference between what's not shown to the public and what's shown as the TV show. Like it does essentially takes the color out of the film. So now you can differentiate what is documentary style and what was aired to the people. And it's a lot of these. There's a lot of
which I loved.
Details.
Yeah. And also, could I tell you a small detail too? Did you notice the skeleton in the audience?
They showed the skeleton a lot.
Did you notice the couple like dressed people in the audience? Because there's a theory about that, and I don't know if I should bring it up because I don't want to ruin anything. But should I? It's not like a spoiler, but well,
if it's a spoiler, save it to the end and we can come back to that. If it doesn't,
okay. I'll put an asterisk next to
it. But there's so many small details and Easter eggs that you could probably on a second or third watch through. You'll pick up in these behind the scene things. Like there's a lot of like just real, like the producers, like we keep having these camera glitches. What's going on? Like there's so many, like to say them all, every single scene would be here all day because there's so much in there, but it's very fast paced. You have this much time during commercial, get your shit together, go in the back, get touched up, get a drink of water, hear all your notes from your producer, hear everything that's going on, right back out, talk to your guest for a second. Hey, are you good? 3, 2, like it's set up fast paced, hectic. And then as the show, now it's already hectic in between commercials, but now the lights just popped. Things are broken. Things are going crazy. The guest is like, please, I need water, da 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 da, like freaking out. So on top of what just happened, you already have the hecticness of in between commercials, and that just intensifies every break.
And even Carl, the guy with the mustache, you were calling him mustache guy.
Yeah,
he's like, we should stop the show. Like, I don't know if we should keep doing this. Like,
he's almost like the co-host. He's like the band director co-host guy.
Yes.
Like, I'm trying to think of like if you're in modern day, he's like the Guillermo of Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah.
Yes. 100%. Yes.
Like hey, everyone, welcome to the show. My name is Gus, and here's your host, Jack. You know, like that's kind of like but yeah, so that's all insanely going on. 3, 2, 1, and we're back. And we're gonna bring out our second guest, which
and Katsu's or Christu's sitting there on the stage. They brought him back out on stage.
Well, the
just let all you know.
Yeah, the old school TV shows is the guests sometimes don't leave because the trick to the old school TV show host is sometimes the guests are going to have banter and it's two celebrities or two polarizing personalities or personalities you would love to see on the couch together. And that's always been a trope of guest TV shows or late night TV shows, is always having that like, this is Jennifer Aniston sitting next to Brad Pitt and they have history or something along those lines.
And this was the skeptic.
Yes, the skeptic is now our second guest.
Christu.
Yes.
Christu, yes.
100% sets a tone of like he's a musician himself. He's doing cigar magic and lighting fires. He's also saying that he is also he can do
he's a hypnotist.
Hypnotist and psychosis. I don't know. I went right to wrestling.
Hypnosis.
This is real quick. There's a new show coming that I'm going to do. Side note, ADHD, called Blazing Buds, where me and my guests, smoke and then talk about a topic or just bullshit.
I love that.
This might be the introductory episode right here. I should not do this during a podcast, but this is what I do during my live streams. Like if I'm playing a video game or if I'm doing like a watch along for wrestling, if I want to, because I can't smoke on camera, I play this, and it's very reminiscent of this show. And we're back, and then I usually blow out a big smoke.
I love
that. Yes, but here we go.
Yes, I love it.
3, 2.
Love it. Okay.
Yeah. So second guest sets a tone. If I don't believe any of this bullshit.
Carl the skeptic.
Yeah, and he immediately starts like going at the first guest, like, you're this and you're that, and he's like, I have a check for $10,000, and I believe there was a real guy.
Yeah, there was. JB told me.
Yeah, there was a real. Used to tell people like, I have a check right here for $500,000 if you can prove to me ghosts are real.
If they can prove to him there's like supernatural abilities or that they're supernatural in a controlled setting.
Yes.
So it couldn't be like word of mouth. He had to like see it in a certain setting so that he can debunk everything.
Yeah. And he was this character is very pulled from this real life person. Fun fact, I don't think he ever lost that money ever. And one of the people who they always tried to put him against was the Warrens, who the Warrens are someone who gets brought up with him, where he kind of says like, my buddies, the Warrens don't like me. Like, and he calls them kind of like trash and con artist. And they immediately start going at each other, and he's like, you failed 5 times before you found the real one, and like, I wonder how you found that out. There's probably something like to this. So they're already battling each other. He's trying to defend himself, the first guest, as well as he's going through it. Like, this guy, he can't breathe right, he's sweating profusely, and then he kind of like goes through a mini possession. Like, you can see like his veins and his facial expressions are changing, and he starts spitting up and puking this black goop. And
my mouth was on the floor. I was sitting there like, because it was just like, what? Because like, you again almost think like this is live TV. You know what I mean? Like, you're sitting there like, oh my God. Like, it was crazy.
Imagine seeing that on like the world would stop if that was being aired on television. Like,
and I'm not trying to jump ahead, Anthony, but then they kept the show going.
Yes.
You see that in the next part. They kept the show going. They rolled them out and just kept the show going.
Yeah. Which, once again, as a pro wrestling fan, does not shock me at all. Like, there is historically a wrestling show where a wrestler was supposed to rappel from the ceiling during a pay-per-view. You know how much money is involved in pay-per-views. It's not just a live TV, it's pay-per-view. The wrestler's cable broke. He fell from the ceiling, hit the ring post, and died in the ring. They brought out his body, took him backstage, and sent out the next performer to go out and perform. Like, there's blood in the ring. Like, so like you're saying, like, the show must go on. Like, yeah, really happened. Right? Yeah.
And listen, can I also just say this? If I was a damn audience member, I would have laughed. Like, if I was an audience member in this movie, I would have, after that, I would have gotten up and left. I don't want to see the weird girl. I don't want to see the psychic. I'm done.
You're the one who
say.
Yeah,
exactly. That's right. That's right.
Fire.
That's right. I'm going home. I'm going home to where it's safe and where my things are. You can stay there and play with the devil.
Yeah, you're getting the next day interview. Like, I seen that and I was like, roll the credits. I'm out. And they're like, everyone died except you. And they're like, because they're dumb. They're dumb. And I'm here. Like. Yeah,
I love it. Wait, also real quick, I wanted to jump in. James Randy was the one, and it was $1 million the drive-in said. So I guess the guy did get proven.
No, he didn't. He I don't think he ever gave the check away for the $1 million.
Oh,
I don't think anyone was ever able to control it or prove it to him. But yeah, so do you have a moment in your, like, growing up or even in modern time where something so crazy happened on television that, like, everyone tuned into it, like, or like they talk about a moment where, like, the like they could say this moment happened and the rating spiked? Like, do you know one off the top of your head?
9/11.
I mean, yeah, that's breaking news. The one for me is the UFC.
Never forget, they weren't lying.
That definitely got a ratings boost that day. Yeah.
Okay, but you mean like on TV, as like in like a show or like okay, let me think about it. You do yours. Let me just
so the Ultimate Fighter season 1 of the UFC, the main event, 2 guys went out and just beat the shit. Like, they were bleeding and just like it was like a cinematic Rocky movie where everyone was like, you're never gonna believe what's on Spike TV right now. Everyone in, and by the beginning of the first round to the 5th round, like, the UFC was born. Like, there was no stopping it. Like, that was the catalyst that, like, launched the UFC into what we now know as, like, the #1 sporting company in the world. And it happened during like, they had like a reality show, like it was called The Ultimate Fighter, and you watched like the real world. They put a bunch of hyper testosterone men who are gonna fight each other for money in a house with alcohol, and you can imagine how terrible that was.
100%.
Hyper toxic masculinity.
Oh my God. Overflowing. Overflowing.
Trained fighters. So the show already is a hit in that aspect alone. But then the season finale, they go out there and put on like a movie Rocky style fight on. And I just remember, like, everyone's like, I didn't even know what this was. And like, people are calling each other, like, get on this app, get on this show, like, watch this now. And it was like, that moment essentially blew up what we now know as this sport. And it was great. It was like that's the only time I can really remember, besides like everyone saying like OJ and all these crazy breaking news things. But like, that's when I remember people like really like all turning in their TV at one time, because it was just insane what was happening.
Well, for me, it's a little different. And maybe this doesn't count, but probably like the Real Housewives for me.
Okay. I never had a moment where I'm like, dude, turn on. My bro never told me.
I never had a time where I put on a pro wrestling reality series where they fought each other either.
This is why the differences are amazing. We get 2 different phone calls. Dante, quick, turn on the fight. No.
Teresa Giudice is flipping a table right now on the Real Housewives of New Jersey. Like, get out of here. I don't want to see men fight and be gross.
Yeah. Fair point. Fair point.
I'd rather watch women fight and be beautiful.
Yeah. So and we're back. So this dude not only pukes all over the second guy, the second host, but also he the throw up on the camera was the coolest scene. One of my favorite movies. Like he literally turns, looks at the camera, and just spray projectile bombs. They take him backstage, they get him taken care of, they go to a break. Once again, it's another situation where it's just panic. I couldn't even really remember, like I didn't really write even a lot down of the behind the scene footage of the second guest because it was actually, no, I do have some stuff. So behind the stage, it goes black and white again, and everyone's scrambling. Like it's like dude just threw up all over the place. People are trying to clean up. Everything's going crazy. Then they're talking about well, I'm sorry, I'm rewinding because we went crazy there. He actually admits to the skeptic guy. He's like, I'm going to be completely honest. When they said Mimi, that is a secret name that I used to use for my Minnie. Yeah, it was a secret name I used for my wife. And then he's like, well, then you set all this up. This is a whole tactic to try to make me lose my money. Da 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 da. And like I said, it's even this dude's throwing up and he's immediately like, I can disprove it. And he's trying to extend the show and they're trying to put it to commercial.
I know y'all love this skeptic. I have so many times in my notes, shut the fuck up, Carl. Shut the fuck up, Carl. Like, just stop, Carl. Like, he's one of those people that you can tell can never be wrong. Like, can never be wrong. And I was just like, he was getting on my nerves. Getting on my nerves.
He's like, now everything he said is legit. Like, he's like, oh, that's an old vaudevillian trick. It's called spouting, where they would drink a ton of water and they were able to control their vocal cords and their throat to spray water out and like make themselves look like a fountain. Like, all real things, 100% real things. And he does hit it with logic, but his approach is kind of dick. He's kind of a dick.
Yes.
All right. So we come back from commercial and we're going to go into our third guest. But before they bring out the guest, they're going to roll the footage of another thing of setting up what the guest is. So like,
which, by the way, like, again, if you were in the audience and you were sitting there and watching this, I would get up. Like, what are you talking about? Like, why do you think it's a good idea? I mean, I get it. It's for ratings. Like, I get that. But like, what made you think it was a good idea to bring this chick out now after this guy was just vomiting all over the place? Like,
Destiny, tell your husband hit me up. We could become friends. Destiny says, this is me when my husband watches WWE. I'm a giant wrestling nerd, so I feel your love, Destiny. But yeah, this is kind of like if you watch like the Dr. Phil, and before they bring out the real bad guest, they're like, it's the montage of like, I told my mom to shut the fuck up.
Yes. But this is like, she was in a cult and the cult died and now they have her and she had a demon inside. Like, it's like,
so what they say is, and this pulls from a lot of real life stuff. Once again,
it's called a package, isn't it? Like,
a video package. Yep. So they talk about this church, like a satanic church that worships this demon called Abreu or Abraix or something. And the guy, he has a crazy name too, but he's supposed to be like an Antoine Lavelle or whatever his name is, like the guy who runs the Church of Satan, or like a Victor Crowley. He's one of those type of people. And they talk about like, oh, he would have these children, and some people speculated these children were used for sacrifice or other things, and like the kids were the gateway to the demon, and they had all these crazy practices. But then they also had like the DEA and the FBI investigated them, almost like a Waco, Texas. And when the DEA went to invade the house to shut it down, he burnt it down and everyone died except one survivor named Lily. And Lily was then brought into the care of this Dr. June Mitchell, who helped her. And she's also a psychic, like not psychic, but she uses the paranormal and blends the two of science and paranormal together. And she's trying to say that, well, they are one and the same. And people do have these amazing gifts and have these connections with other worlds. And she's trying to show through science and through care that she has something really special here, where this girl is possessed by, she doesn't believe it's the devil. She doesn't believe it's the demon that they were praising, but it is a demon who works for that demon. Like they're like the players. You're like, and they bring out then Lily to the stage. And when they bring Lily out, she's fucking weird. She's a weird
I was
kid.
just about to, I have it in my notes. I have ask Anthony, what are your thoughts on this little girl? I know she's been through a lot and has a demon inside of her, but why is she so weird?
Yeah, I'm not hanging out with this kid. This kid would freak me out. The way she just like,
she reminds me of Megan.
Through you. Yeah.
She gives me Megan vibes.
Yeah, like artificial intelligence, not real. Yeah. But just stares, like the way that Lily looks at you, you're like, you're being judged, or like they can hurt you. Like,
and even like the things she says too. Like she's very like, almost, she talks like sweet but condescending in a sense. Like you're
almost
kind of
like in third person too.
Yeah, like you're weirded out by her.
Like she's talking for herself, but someone else. Like it's a weird thing, and just keeps like staring directly into the camera. So not only are you weirded out in the audience, you're weirded out by the host, but at home you feel uncomfortable.
Yes. Yes, they did a good job with that, like with that character. They did a really good job with that character.
And then it goes to a break. And even during the break, Lily's staring at the camera, and they're like, hey. And then she's like, oh, I'm sorry, where do I look? And like, at me. Like, you don't worry about the cameras. And when Jack walks by and compliments her on being beautiful, she says, thank you, Jack. But when she says it, it's a different voice.
Yeah.
And it's Jack kind of shrugs it off, because once again, you have a small gap in between commercials. So he's not picking up on all these cues and all these other cues that are going on. Like producers like, we still have glass on the floor from the last thing. There's puke everywhere.
Yes.
But they also find out during this break that the first guest has died on the way to the hospital.
Rip to Christo. Yep. He had a brain aneurysm. Yep.
And he's like, keep it between us. Don't say it. He goes, you know how everyone's going to talk about this backstage? I was like, it's going to be a big thing. And don't say anything. We're going to no sell it. Keep the show going. And he's like, it's insane. So now this creepy girl has set the tone of the movie. The first guest is dead. So you're like, this show is bonkers. And, And then June is like, listen, I don't want to do it. Like, I don't think when we come back, we do the possession thing. The week coming up into this, she's been bringing you up a lot, and she doesn't watch TV. She's never been around TV. She doesn't know your history, but she knows everything about you. Like, this is strange. Like, I don't think she's controlled. I don't think I can control her. I don't think we should do this. And
everyone's like, come on, June, show us, June. Come on,
your
June.
trick.
Yeah. Like, why?
There's a guy out there who keeps raising his check price every 30 seconds. He's like, 100,000? Let's go 5.
And I love how after they convince her to let her be possessed or whatever, that he's like, all right, next we're going to be talking to the devil, but let's go to a commercial break. It's like, what?
Well, at this point in time, he agrees to her that they're not going to do it. You have my word as a host. I'm not going to make you feel uncomfortable. Like, what you should do to a host when you have a guest on is, your job as the host is to host a show, but also make your guests feel trusted in you and comfortable with you. And that's exactly what he kind of does here. And then, production issues are still going on. Everything's going crazy. And in 5, 4, and we're back. So the doctor kind of talks about her education and how she does everything. And every time she's trying to speak on what her qualifications are, dickhead hoax guest is just interrupting her. And eventually she's like, yo, if this dude doesn't shut up, we're out of here. She has her chance to speak her stuff, and she's trying to, she comes off very credible if you're watching this as a late night thing. Like, she doesn't come off as like just some girl who's taking advantage of this little girl. Like, she's saying like, no, this girl was abandoned. I took her in as her caregiver. I'm trying to help her, like the whole 9. I might have said too far there. That might be another segment later on. But yeah, but you hear her credentials and why she belongs to be there. And then going through this, they're kind of saying like there's still production issues. When she starts talking about the weirdness, in the beginning of the show, Gus, the co-host, is playing one of those like one of those instruments. I don't know what they're called, but
I don't know what they're called either. but also I only through my notes too. I have poor mustache guy. Poor mustache guy. I felt so bad for him. This whole entire movie. What a sweet man, and he was just trying to do his best.
Yeah, a Thurman. Thank you, Witchcraft by Lily. So the Thurman goes off and it's making weird noises. Production lights are going crazy. Everything is going shit on them. And the little girl in creepy little girl fashion goes, "Oh, that's Mr. Wiggles." And I call him Mr. Wiggles because he wiggles into my brain and wiggles out. And you're like, yeah, this is gonna get good. So she says Mr. Wiggles is here right now.
Yeah. Okay. So he goes, why I put in my notes, why did he ask her, is Mr. Wiggles in the studio with us right now? Like, duh. Mr. Wiggles is in her. Duh. Like, yeah, he's in here right now.
He's wiggled in.
Oh God. And that name too. I was just like,
well, which was kind of a nod to The Exorcist because Captain Howdy was like the name, like a very cheerful bubblegum cartoon character name for this evil devil. You know what I mean?
Very true. Very true.
So Jack is kind of like, well, I'd like to interview him. And June is like, whoa, we just talked about that we won't do this. And then the studio audience and then
show us June.
And then the little girl's like, please, June, you said you want to change the world. You want to show this is real. The devil knowing your weakness and peer pressuring you into agreeing. June's like, okay. And then we cut to break.
Yeah, we're going to talk to the devil, but first a commercial break.
Yeah, and June's like, you piece of shit. You tricked me. You sandbagged me here. Like, what the fuck? She's absolutely pissed about it. While this is going on too, this might have happened on the last break. No, actually, there's not. Just the chaos ensues there, but most of it was June and Jack talking about how she like you essentially did me dirty here. And then we're back from our break. And I'm gonna be honest, during this commercial break and bringing in the guests and doing everything they've been doing up until this point, this is the moment in the movie where I was like, I'm at the top of the roller coaster. We're about to come down now.
Yes.
I'm in love with this movie. Like I'm watching this and I'm like, this probably breaks into my top 10 of all time.
Yes.
This is probably one of the best horror movies I've seen in a long time. I'm super into this movie. I'm in love. I'm in love with this movie.
And it's so weird that you said that because before we came on here, you said that to me. You were like, I even wrote down the part I fell in love with this movie. And you know what's so weird is in my notes I don't usually like Exorcist movies, but this one I was really into because it was different. It was different. I am so sick of the girl in her pajamas in a barn or on a bed or in a room somewhere in those long nightgowns and she's possessed. And it's like, it's always the same thing all the time. So this one I loved because it was just different. It was so different. It was so
everyone
good.
wants to capsule what The Exorcist did, and not even Exorcist 2 was able to do that.
No. Yeah. This
you
was
said in a barn, and I immediately was like, "Oh, that's the possession of Emily." Like I know the movie. Like
that's what I'm saying. I mean, it could be Exorcism of Emily Rose. There was just that new one that came out with the two girls, and they put them in a barn. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's there's either a barn, a bed, a room. I mean, it's just like, oh my God, like come up with something different.
I actually just watched a documentary. I'm a documentary hound. I love them. Did you ever watch the one that's based on the movie The Devil Made Me Do It? Where the Warrens essentially help a guy get off with murder by saying that he was possessed by the devil.
I don't know if I have. That sounds so familiar, though.
So they made a movie based on it, and it's part of the Conjuring series, but it was based on a true events. I believe it was Pennsylvania.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look now. I don't know. Wait, do you know what it's called?
It's called the movie and the documentary are both called The Devil Made Me Do It. Yeah. Was it Pennsylvania? No, I don't think it was. I don't remember, but it was a good documentary, but it kind of reminded me of like how you said before, like the originality or something like that. But like, yeah. So this is where, for me in the movie, this is where I completely fell in love. I mean, like I took a moment. I think I even paused it at that point where I was just like, I really stepped back and I was like, man, like everyone that I'm watching, like I believe I'm watching a late night show. Like the acting is so, there's so like not one point in this movie I was like, this acting's cheesy. This movie's like low budget. Like this is like everything about this movie is like I'm genuinely impressed. Like
100%.
Every actor in this movie is fucking killing it. Like there's not a weak moment in any acting up until this point. I'm like, this is unbelievable. Like the way the co-host, the host, and he's like selling the emotion of like, I'm really like underselling it a little bit here, but like the tempo and the tone and what you're going to feel in this movie, we're not doing it justice because like this guy is literally terrified of what is happening on his show. He's trying to keep it together mentally. Like he has this whole dark secret of his wife in this Bohemian Grove, and that's kind of bleeding through. And all this,
you feel something for each character, whether it's happy, sad, or angry. Like the boss, I was angry at. The skeptic, I was angry at. Carl, I felt sorry for. The host, I was like, oh my God, what the hell is going on with him? The lady, I felt the pressure she felt. You know what I mean? Lily's caretaker or whatever. Like I felt the pressure she was under. You know what I mean? Like you really got a hold of what all of them were feeling. Kind of. It was awesome. Yeah, they were all great. All of them. Each
the one that resonated was the Jack with most of me. Not because I went to Bohemian Grove, but it's just like the fact that you're like he's desperately wanting to be on the top of his game and be number one, and it's everything. All his dreams are slipping away. But he's also once again during the one break, he's told that there's a producer or an executive sitting in the front row watching everything, and he's essentially he has to perform for that person to keep his dream and his job alive. Like he's under intense pressure, but there's also a element of him where he does want to do the right thing, but he's balanced because he also wants to be famous. All of like how you're every single character we can do a 30-minute synopsis of what we got from them because of battling.
He's battling his morality. Like he knows he shouldn't do certain things, but he's doing them because of the pressure. And it was, again, you felt they did such a good job of portraying and making you feel something for them. There wasn't like one like passive character where you were like, whatever, you know. I mean, of course there was background characters, but each of the main ones you were like, damn, you know.
It reminds me of The Office. Like that's why I love The Office. Like even if you're not a fan of one character in Office, there's one that you fall in love with and you'll watch every episode for that one character. And that's, I think it's really hard to do with characters in movies is you make everyone feel important.
Even when Christou died, the first guest, you felt bad because you knew that he was like freaked out. You knew that he didn't know what was going on. You knew that, like, you know what I mean? You were like, oh my God, this guy, like, I feel sorry for him. Like he played it so well. So well.
This movie's fantastic. Like I'm like I said, I'm in love at this point. So June is terrified. She has Lily in a chair in front of the audience and she's strapped down, and you could already tell, like every possession movie you watch, you always think to yourself, like, if you're going to be the priest or the person, like you have to show no fear to the devil. Because if there's a shred of insecurity or self-doubt, the devil already has you beat. And June is sitting across from this little girl and already fears her. You could see it on her face. She up until the moment June hit the stage and realized everything that was going on, you can tell in June's character, she's fighting back tears. She wants to break down. She wants this to stop. She's so wildly uncomfortable. And now she's about to unleash something she truly believes is evil and inherently dangerous in front of a live studio audience because she was peer pressured into it. Like that's bleeding through June in this scene.
And that she doesn't have full control over. She doesn't have she's not she's not she doesn't trust herself to control it. You know what I mean? She doesn't have that trust in her that she can stop it when she wants to. And you can tell that, you know.
It's wild. So
and then when you talk about this, I know you're going to talk about this next, but this little girl also played it great.
Well, you want to jump in?
Yeah. Oh my God. She was so good. Scene. When she what was the lady's name?
June.
June.
Dr. June
does the like hypnosis on her or asks to talk to this demon. and from the girl's head drops with her hair all in front of her face, and when she lifts up her face, and I loved how they did her makeup. Like, I love how they did the special effects makeup, because they didn't make it look cheesy. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't distort her face too much. It kind of was like a little bit distorted, and it has like the slits in it and the cuts and like all of that, but it wasn't overly done. It was believable. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like blah. And
I thought there was a small prosthetic on the nose. Like, I felt like the nose changed a little bit. Like, there was certain aspects of it that was changed, like her eye depth or her eyebrow. Or
her
something.
face was like more masculine.
It was,
but not like by like a scotch. Yeah. Like a scotch. It was perfect. And then she's just like, she lifts her head and she's just like, you know, like not like that, but you know what I mean? Her eyes are like, you know what I mean? Like, she's very,
she lifted up and she went, I woke up again. Could you imagine?
No, but she does wake up, and the first person she goes to is Jack.
Yeah, she's like, where's he at? Oh, well, like, it's almost like Mr. Wiggles isn't aware where they are, but like they're playing. Because here's the crazy thing: when you watch demon movies or devil movies, it's almost like they're always messing with you, the watcher. Like, are they invulnerable, or do they know what's going on? Are they playing into you? Like, where am I? Where am I at right now? Like, am I here? Am I here now? Like, it's almost like they were controlling the lights, but now don't know where they are to make you feel, almost to give you a shred of your own power to like, okay, they're not aware, so I have an upper hand a little bit. Like, they don't tip their cards. It's it's genius. I love it. I'm so like I said, I'm into it. And like you said, immediately goes for Jack.
I haven't been here the whole time. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, are we in a TV studio? Oh my God, surprise. I'm on camera.
It's almost like when you're getting tea out of somebody, right? So if you're confronting someone who's lied to you and you have the information of the lie, if you come into the conversation and go, hey, I know everything. I've known the conversations. I could tell you the time, date, location. You almost pit them into a corner where they're like, either they deny to the point where you no longer, at the point conversation was pointless for you at all, or you kind of want to make them squirm a little bit, like, hey, where were you at the other night? And then you kind of give them the lay with it, see if like how much they tell you, because they still feel confident in what they believe. And that's kind of what the devil's doing here. Is like, where am I right now? It almost like it sets a lower bar so you feel like you're superior for just that moment. But like they know everything at this point, and they're slowly gonna pull it away from you.
And then like we said, that's when they went for Jack. And the one thing I noticed about this is they were talking to Jack almost like they had this. That's the thing. Now that's where I just put this together. Now they were talking to Jack though, like they've known Jack forever, and also like had this planned. You get what I mean? Like, so now it's like, where am I? Am I in the TV studio? But oh, hey Jack, how are you? Know what I mean? Like,
it's great to see you again.
Yes,
we met in the wood. We met in the woods with the tall trees. Remember, Jack?
And JB said that. JB goes, I bet the demon's gonna bring up the trees. And like 2 seconds later, he's like, yeah, remember the trees in the woods? Yeah.
And now everyone's kind of like, well, what's going on here? And Jack is like, oh shit, like this got real. You know what I mean? But yeah, by the way, you're the first guest who like broke down the scene for me as well. So appreciate that.
I'll do that anytime.
The chemistry's amazing.
I'll do that anytime you want. I mean, you're doing great at like leading us. I love it. But yeah, I'll do that anytime you want. But that scene was so good. Like, so good.
So at this point too,
real quick though, because you were sitting there the whole time, like, what is gonna happen next?
You're uncomfortable.
You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, it was so, and that's why I could see why you fell in love and like realized this movie was like awesome, is because that was the moment you're like, what is going to happen? What is going to happen? It's like a ticking time bomb. You're like, are they going to do this? Are they going to do that? Or are they going to do, like, it was, whoo.
Well, that's honestly the beauty of cinema or art, any type of art. If you go into something with the mindset of like, and I kind of like, like I said, going into this, I didn't have a mindset where I was enjoying cinema that way, where I couldn't pull myself out of my own bullshit to let me enjoy the movie. Because when you go into a horror movie, if you go into a horror movie like, I'm tough. Nothing scares me. You're not going to enjoy it because you're not immersing yourself into the content you're consuming. Anytime you put on a piece of media, whether it's a podcast, whether it's something, if you have to kind of go into it, if you go into it like, I'm going to find every way this thing sucks, you're going to find every way
like
this
the
thing
skeptic.
sucks. Yeah. Don't be that guy. But yeah, so,
I have that. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, but this movie like broke that out of me, and I physically felt it being like I was possessed, like I was being duped. Like it's almost like you got by a magic trick. Like it's like, oh, that was fun. Like I'm having a good time being duped. You know what I mean? Like this movie's invoking feeling. Like what are these feelings? I'm not supposed to feel them. Yeah. Yeah, but like, so as this is going on too, she's speaking to Jack and going through everything, but then also she's June realizes she's losing control. It's getting weird. Like she's shaking, like her vocals are getting real demonic, and like now the audience realizes this girl's face visibly changed in front of us. Her voice has changed in front of us. We don't like, you're watching this and you're like, the skeptic's like, I can disprove it, and everyone else in the crowd's like, I think we're all dead. We're all gonna die here, you know? But then she starts speaking in Latin and using this charm on her. And as she's saying the prayer, like the prayer or the whatever it is in Latin to her, the demon's saying it with her. Another cool demon thing I love when they do in movies, I love when they put that, like, where it almost sounds like there's 6 voices, but they're all in unison and harmony talking, but you can hear every layer to the voice. But then somehow through that mix, you also hear the real voice of the little girl still.
Yes. I was just gonna say that too. I love that when she was talking to Jack, and you could still hear the girl's voice, but it was over, like it was
like demonic harmony
overlaid, like auto-tuned. It was like the girl's voice and the demon's voice were like perfectly in sync, and it sounded so great. So great. That's
once again an Exorcist trope. Like when she would talk in the movie, it's almost like there was 6 voices at one time coming out, but all saying this. Like while she's talking, you hear somebody else breathing. Like it's like you're talking, you hear like, but she's still speaking, and you can't make those 2 noises together. Like beautifully done. But when she starts saying the prayer to her, she's repeating the prayer back, almost to be like, this ain't doing shit to me. And she shakes, the chair levitates in front of everybody, it falls back down, and she's back to Lily. But if you're watching it and you're like, well, the prayer didn't work because she repeated it back, almost like showing June, you have no power. You lost. And she's allowing everyone once again to feel like they won. I'm normal, guys. I'm Lily again.
And also it makes you think, like, did June ever have control over the demon?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, did she ever, or is this demon just really like fucking with her? You know what I mean? Like, because then that's what I'm saying. Like, this demon had this planned all along. Like, that had me thinking, like, has this demon just been messing with June to get to Jack?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what I was thinking.
So we go back to a break. And guest 2 is 100%, even before they go to commercial. He's like, wait a second, I can debunk this. And they're like, no, go to commercial. They go to commercial, and Jack is just really like, he's so desperate at this point. He's like, oh my God, like that just blew everyone away. And then the producer comes up and he's like, you just got re-signed. The executive loves it. Yeah.
I love that they just saw that, and then they're like, hell yeah, we're back on top. I'd be like, did you just see that chair lift up from like, and they want to, I don't know if this is yet, and I could be jumping forward, but they want to make this into like regular segments.
Yeah.
Are we at that part where he says to you, like, we got to get her back, and we got to make this like a weekly thing or something like that? Like, are you nuts?
Yep.
Oh my God.
And then the guest 2 is he actually, in one of these breaks I thought I wrote it down, but I didn't. But at one of these breaks too, guest 2 is like, he goes up to the family and he's like, well, did they take notes about you? Like in between every break, he's trying to decipher everything.
I missed that the first time we watched it, and I saw it this time. And I was like, because in my notes I had, from the first time I watched it, I had like, oh, I bet like either he's related to those ladies or he knows them somehow or something like that. And then that's why I love, like we were talking about before, when you watch it a second time, I'm like, oh, I caught that. Because the first time I was probably taking notes. You know what I mean? But when he goes up to them and he says like, And they say, yeah, a lady came up to us in the lobby and was asking us questions. And actually, it was that lady that came out and helped him when he started vomiting. And she goes, actually, it was that lady that came out with him. And that's when you figure out,
when I go back and rewatch it, I didn't know a lady came out to help.
Oh, yeah.
So I have to go back and rewatch. Did I not see a woman come out and help?
When he started throwing up and she came out from the back, she had like on glasses and her hair was up and she was wearing like a skirt. She was with him. Like that was maybe his assistant or his wife, or I don't know. But they said that she was talking to them in the lobby.
Okay, got you. So I thought there might be another play on this lady makes a return again. Like, so I'm looking for this creepy lady and it doesn't come. But yeah, so this is all going down and guest 2 then learns about the death of guest 1. And now the producer is just like the other guy before the last break too. Like Gus is in full blown like, yo, bro, you're at a point where we're about to quit. We're about to leave you. Like if you go and do this demonic thing on your show, like I'm out. Like you're messing with things you have no idea what you're messing with. Like, and then he finds out when he comes back, 3 of his crew members quit. You know, people are leaving, but you renewed. You did it. You hit your goal. You allowed the craziness to go through, and you know, and you hit your goal. Like you sacrificed your character, but you hit your goal, brother. You did it. Congratulations. Almost like everything he's strived for is coming together, and it's at the expense of like possibly everything.
Yes, like the drive-in said, her chair lifted last week. June, can you get her head spinning? Like it's like. It's crazy.
And he says to his producer right as they're doing the countdown, like 3, 2, back to you. He's like, did you hear her voice when she talked to me? It sounded like my wife. And he's like, don't let that in your head. Get back out there. So he's once again, he has to gather himself, collect himself, play a host, and not be himself, because like spoiler alert, when you see most of your people on TV who host late night shows, who they are on and off camera, like, oh, I know James Corden because he's probably not like when people found out Ellen sucked, you're like, how? TV, she's amazing because she's playing being an amazing person on her morning show. But you could see like his transformation every time you hear 3, 2, he like wipes himself clean, but you can still see it in his eyes. But he's like, and we're back, and you know what I mean? Like, so now he's back, and he's interviewing Lily now about, you know, the trance and everything she went through and how she describes it. And she's in the middle of describing what he goes through. And the skeptic goes, may I please prove how this is all bullshit? And you're like, this fucking
Carl doesn't give up.
Yeah, Carl sucks. So Carl says, oh, you know, I need a guest. Thanks, Gus. And then grabs, so that they're about to close the show. The show's about to end here. Like that was the plan, at least. This is the ending of the show.
Lily says, so where are we going now, Jack? And he's like, well, we're going to say goodnight, darling. Like we're going to close the show out.
Yep. And Gus essentially gets hypnotized, and he's like, not only do I want you to pay attention, Gus, I want the viewers at home, I want everyone in the audience, I need a close-up on the camera. And and then he's, you know, and you're once again, you have this feeling of like, oh, we're gonna watch Jack get hypnotized, this is gonna be fun. And Jack's like, sorry man, this whatever you did didn't work. And he's like, I'm gonna snap my fingers and you're gonna be under my control. And he's like, whatever you say. And he snaps his fingers and he goes out. Now, we've all seen these videos on TV and on YouTube. You're like, I've never been hypnotized. I don't think I would allow someone to do it just in case they can. But like a part of me is like, is this real? Like, can you do this? But I want to experience it, but I don't, because you're not gonna have me run around naked. Like I'll once I come out of it and I see myself, I'll move your ass.
100%. And he goes to hypnotize Carl, and but like poor Carl. Like, again, mustache guy. I feel bad for him. Like, he has a whole family, you know, and all he wants to do is get the hell out of there. Now he has to sit there. And again, the pressures of doing live TV. And even Carl was his name's Gus. Carl to Gus was like, are you comfortable? And Gus was like, I guess. Like, he gave like a sigh, like, oh, I guess, you know, like, I don't want to be doing this, but here I am, you know.
So he immediately says, your neck's bleeding. And he goes to feel his neck, and he tells him he has a fear of worms. And Carl's like, how did you know that? But almost like, do I? wait, I do. How did you know that? Almost, you know, and you're like, oh, he got him. So you watching it are like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. And then he starts pulling real worms from his neck. And then you're thinking to yourself, okay, this movie the entire time has shown me from the view of the TV camera. So are we now seeing through Carl's head? Did this movie just put us in a different light? Because we were consuming it as if we were watching it from a TV screen.
Oh, I think that is the point. Because I think when he was like, make sure you get a close up of the spiral, I think he wanted to hypnotize everybody so we all saw the worms. So which I don't know why you would think that's a good idea with that girl there. I don't care if you're a skeptic or not. I don't understand why you think it would be a good idea to do that with that girl there. I really and truly don't. But whatever.
But like you just said, then you start to realize, oh, this movie has just hypnotized even you as the audience. You're seeing the worms. Carl stands up, rips his shirt off. He's saying it's hot. He disembowels himself. And now you're watching going, what the fuck? Like, this movie just got in, like, so there's a movie called Devil where it took place in an elevator. And the entire time you're watching the movie, you think you have every person in this elevator figured out of who the devil is inside this elevator. And then by the end of the movie, it's the last person you would have expected. So my brain immediately went to that movie and I go, fucking Carl's been the devil the whole time. Like, how is this guy making this guy kill himself on TV?
Yes.
So I'm even like, Carl, like he was a double up. We just got fucking bamboozled. And it got me. Like, and I hated it, but I loved it because Carl even sells like, I can't stop this. And you're like, wait, now it's not Carl. The real devil just did something. The little girl just did this. And you're like, oh my God, this is guy. And then Carl's like, back to normal. And you're like,
but you know what I thought was a weird thing that I picked up on is when Lily said, why is Carl acting so, or why is Gus acting so funny? Like the guy that was pulling the worms out of him. She was like, why is he acting so funny? And then it made me think, like, did she get hypnotized? And maybe she's not seeing the worms because she's already, you get what I mean? Like, I don't know, that's like a deep dive a little bit, but I thought it was weird that she said that. Like, she didn't say like, why is the worms? Why is this? Like, it almost seems like she wasn't hypnotized with everybody else. It seemed like she was like, what's going on? Like, what are you all looking at? You know, 100%. Like
100%.
I picked up on that. I picked it up on it the first time too. I was like, why would she say something like that? Doesn't she see what everybody else is seeing? Yeah. I just thought that was strange. And then that made me think, is the demon in her all the time? And she's just pretending to be okay.
Well, you know what in the movie to her that June says there's a demon in everybody. It's just how much it can come out of you.
Oh no, I mean like even like I think even when the little girl is talking like the little girl, that it's still the demon. And I think that's why she talks like that. Like, where are we going now, Jack? And what are we doing? Because the demon is trying to be like playful and innocent. You know what I mean? And and I just picked up on that. It was just strange. But go ahead.
Great scene for everything we just said there. The way you had your layer to it, the layer I got out of it. Like when you watch the scene, there's 13 things going through your brain at once, and it got you. Like it.
Yes.
A beautiful scene where
when that worm. Oh my God! It was.
Yes, a worm pops out of his head, a giant worm out of his eye, or something, and then he immediately snaps his finger and everything goes back to normal. And everyone's like, what the fuck just happened? And he goes, I just hypnotized all of you. And he goes, play back the footage now. And they play it back and you see it as if nothing happened.
But
then you realize that you have just been tricked by him. And you're like, oh, the devil's not real. He just, he wins. He wins because he just explained everything you just seen because he just tricked you.
And you know what I was thinking too was him panicking, like not being able to stop it. Was that part of the hypnotism?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like because when they went back to it, I think because he was just sitting there then, so he wasn't freaked out or anything. It was almost like because then they. Well, I don't want to jump too far. Go ahead.
Well, I think that's his trick too. Is he wants you to show the genuine fear that I can make you feel, and then when you think I don't have control, I always do.
Yes.
He's being his own. He's being his own deity. He's his own God. He's his own devil. You know what I mean?
Like 100%.
He's doing it with logic. So he plays it back, and then Lily says, "Well, why don't you play back my footage?" because if we hypnotized and you play it back, you'll see that it was all bullshit, essentially, in no in less words. And June's like, no, don't play it back. And they're like, play it back.
I was
and
like, June, run, June, run.
So when they play it back, it's all legit. But also during the one production glitch, Jack says, wait, stop it, slow it down, frame by frame. And in the one scene is his dead wife.
It was Minnie.
And then this skeptic is like, told you this has all been bullshit. You guys are in this so deep that I can't even figure it out. And he loses his mind. The set goes fucking crazy. Lily stands up and her head opens up and fucking bonkers shit's going on. Gus stands up, another call to the exorcist. The power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you. Now, right before he gets hypnotized, his one line he says to the Carl is, whatever you do, just don't have my head spin. My wife likes my head where it's at. And Lily immediately snaps his head. Spins his head, kills June. Her throat gets slit.
And also explain what's going on here. Lily is standing here with her head split open with like
light and electricity.
It's the wildest thing you'll ever see.
Almost like something's trying to break out of her. But it's just the light and energy of it. Her eyes are yellow. She's
like levitating. She's almost like going, like she's almost being powered through the electricity. But then you also don't know, is she going into the TVs to like, you know, it's wild, a wild scene. There's so much going on.
The crowd is running for their lives. People are panicking. Jack gets thrown across the set. And then the skeptic gets on his knees and he pulls out his check. The check evaporates. She essentially lights him on fire from the inside out. And then Jack kind of makes eye contact and they look at each other. Jack gets pulled behind the door. The doors close and the scene ends. And then like they cut to like a please stand by and this weird demonic face shows up on the screen. And then it cuts back as if they just reran another episode. And now once again, this we're like, wait, if this was a TV show, now we're not in TV, we're not in documentary. What are we looking at?
Because he's going through these like different, like it's almost like when you're in like a dream and you spin around and you're in a different room. That's kind of like what Jack's going through. It's
literally
like
what I say is he cuts back and he's back into another episode. But he's confused and it's almost like he's reliving a bad dream. Because he's aware that I've done this before. He's aware what's happening. He goes, what the fuck is going, like he's even like, what, like she says a line to him and it's from an earlier callback to an episode that you've seen during the beginning package, the very start of the movie, and he's like, what the fuck is going on? And she's like, that's not the line.
Like they're aware of it too.
And it's really fucking weird. And it shows like, then it kind of leads into his sacrifice that he went to Bohemian Grove, and then it cuts like he's the guy who ran the cults there, and he drinks the blood in front of the owl, and he's going through his sacrifice. Then it cuts back to his wife on her deathbed, and she's like, you sacrificed me for your success. And she's like, please end me. And next to the nightstand is a dagger that Jack used to cut Lily free. And he now has this dagger. Now, the whole time I'm thinking of this still, I'm still like, am I hypnotized? Like, how are they showing this to us? Like, because you have no trust in this movie, because once the hypnotizing scene happens, now you question your own reality. What this movie's showing you. Because there's movies that lean into the devil occult stuff, and then by the end, it's like, it wasn't the devil the whole time. It was just your own mental health problems. And you're like, fuck you.
Because I remember when they said, the one thing I wrote down in my notes was like, what did you have to sacrifice tonight? Is what they said to Jack. Like Jack's, or he signed, it was like there was another scene in that like dream sequence where he turns, then he's like at a desk. And he's signing a contract, and they're like, Jack, what did you have to sacrifice tonight? And then you realize that, it was Minnie or Madeline or whatever her name is. And in my notes, I put like, damn, like he sacrificed her and his show still didn't get popular.
Yep.
Not to be mean, but like she died for that. Like
Yep.
that's just like God damn, what a raw end of the deal. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? God,
Well,
she died and the show still sucked.
it's kind of like the Twilight Zone, right? Like when the one guy, you know, he says, I want a perfect life. And then in the episode of Twilight Zone, he goes gambling and he can never lose. Everything in life just works for him. Everything's perfect. He never has a moment of failure, never has a moment where he feels like he's behind the 8 ball. And, you know, that was the devil's trick, is like, yeah, I'll give you everything you want and you're going to hate it. So like he sacrificed his wife and he still had to go through all this. And he's like, I'll give you the greatest show you ever have. Unfortunately, it'll also be your last.
And this is yes. And it's almost like those, is it like a gift of a magi kind of like, okay, I'll give you what you want, but I'm going to give you a key to a door, but I'm not going to give you the door. Like one of those kind of things.
Yep.
And I also put in here, like, this is where I could say my little spoiler, something that you could look for next time you watch, is when he's going through that dream sequence, you see the skeleton, the Frankenstein, the ghost, all when he's drinking the blood and doing that thing. And there's a kind of like a conspiracy that the skeleton and the people in the crowd were people from the Grove, making sure that this all happened. That's why they're not there. They don't move. That's why they kind of like don't, like, you don't see them moving a lot or anything, because JB said it's just like a conspiracy. But when you think about it, it kind of makes sense. They were all there. And they're the only one. There was only certain people in the audience that were masked, and that was the skeleton, the ghost, the Frankenstein. I think there was a witch, I think, too. Yeah. They were the only ones that were masked in the audience, where you couldn't see their face. Yep. So I was like, that's interesting too. That's an interesting theory.
Yeah. So when he takes the dagger and he stabs his wife in the chest to finish the sacrifice, and as he's stabbing her, I immediately was like, oh, I see how this is ending. And I say it, and it happened. Screen cuts back. He's in the studio. Everyone around him is a bloody mess. The sirens are pulling in. The cops are on their way, and he has stabbed Lily in the chest. He essentially was the final blow. He's the only surviving person.
Alert.
Yeah, he's the only surviving person on the set that night, and he's probably going to go to jail for the rest of his life, and he's never going to be able to mentally defend himself. He just had he had a psychotic break on national television, and his credibility, his mind state, everything about anything that ever comes out of his mouth again will never be taken seriously.
Well, and I wonder too, because they said that they left it open-ended like that to like do your own interpretation. And I sit there and wonder, like, okay, well, did she actually get super possessed by the devil and he actually did save the day, but to everyone else he just went crazy?
So it's kind of like when a celebrity goes crazy.
Yeah.
If you ruin their character, no matter, like Britney, we will always see Britney in a certain light. Like, unless you're a super diehard fan, you love her to death, you have a different bond to her, but the rest of the world sees her as a girl who shaved her head, got crazy, and never came back.
Yeah, true.
So did she make a sacrifice to get her fame? And then part of her sacrifice is we gave it to you, but now for the rest of eternity, you will never be sent mentally you ever again.
That's a good way to think about it.
So that's kind of how, when I seen this movie, it's like when you make that deal for fame, there's going to be things that come with it if you're not willing to do it on your own, and you're going to get for outside help. Yeah.
And I think that's why also he felt so pressured to keep doing the TV show. Even though things were going wrong, it's like, well, I made that deal. I got to get famous.
Does he think he's doing the work to get it done, but doesn't realize that no matter how hard he works, that the deal's already been established? Like, does he then realize, like, shit, all of my hard work of me thinking I accomplished this without the deal, now the deal, you know what I mean? But then he realizes that same night is like, oh, it had nothing to do with my hard work. Like, this was going to happen regardless. Yeah. I now just lost everything for this one moment. Like, he got his 5 seconds of fame, and now he's going to go down in history as this giant shell of himself.
I'm not gonna lie, I do wish that they would have shown a little bit more. Like, I know that's gonna piss off some horror movie buffs and fans.
I love how they left it, because we're talking about it. Yeah,
I know, but I wish they would have just gave us just a little bit of just like some,
like him sitting in an asylum.
Well, yeah,
God, the devil did it.
Something as to what happened in those seconds. Was he hallucinating? Did anything happen at all? Were they just sitting there and he just went nuts and, just like a little answer to something? I do like the open-endedness, and I guess why I get that why that's appealing to people. But also for me, I just wish they would have. I'm not a big person where it's like, leave it up to you. It's like, no, just tell me.
Or if they would have done the whole bit again, like almost back to back of like, well, let's roll back what actually happened on camera, and it's just
would have
him
been
just
a good idea.
stabbing everybody. You know what I mean? Like,
or like at the end of the credits or something. You know what I mean? Where it was like, leave it open-ended like that. But that even is a good idea to like rewind it and then show him and show like the gore and like, you know what I mean? Him going crazy and shit. Like that would have been really cool. But I get again why it's appealing to leave it open-ended. I get it because you kind of could come up with your own interpretation of what happened. So I get why it's fun, but we were sitting there kind of like, huh. It left you.
Another interesting aspect too is June says, well, he goes, do you think this is the devil, or do you think it's the demon they were possessing? He goes, no, it's one of the demon's minions. They don't send themselves to go do it. They send a pawn. So it's almost like that pawn knew what its job was and knew that its host was going to be killed. So that's why when she says, I think it's just a pawn of the demon doing the bidding of the devil, like almost like send out my suicide bomber to do it because I'm not going to go do it.
Yes, very true.
So like it's almost like Lily knew the demon knew it was going to possess Lily, and this is going to be the end of the road for them. But the whole mission was because this guy signed the contract.
Yes, using Lily as a vessel and June to get to Jack to do. Yes,
so good.
I didn't even think about that. That's a good. Yes. Okay.
It's honestly a movie I'm gonna go back and rewatch and try to then, because this is the fun thing about talking to somebody and doing this style of content is because I seen a movie, got what I got, you got what you got, and I'm like, shit, I see what you see, and now you see, and then you go back and watch it like, did you see this scene? I just picked this up. Yeah,
but that makes so much sense though, the way you said that though, of how like wait, how did you say that? I'm sorry. Oh, that she had like, where she had
it was almost like it was like a suicide mission for the demon.
Yes. It's all like clicking to me now that you said that, because we just said before like how the demons seemed like they had a mission, they had a plan, they knew who Jack was, they were just fucking around and pretending like it all makes sense now. Like they were just pretending to be Lily and be like innocent and just like a little girl, and in all actuality they were playing with everybody. They were like, no, actually, like this is gonna happen. And what do you take from the part where her like head splits open? Like, what do you think was happening there? Like
just releasing that last bit of energy to, like, once again, it's like it's almost like a suicide bomber. Like, I know I'm not coming back from this, so I have to dump here. Like, this is the way it has to go down. But here's another crazy thing to think about. Like, I literally lost my thought. Oh, the power of a minion. This is just the minion.
Yeah, true.
And this is like the bottom layer of evil. Could you imagine how much more powerful another entity would be?
No, and actually I'm very curious if they are even planning or talking about, I mean, not a sequel, but maybe like something in the universe of it. You know what I mean? To kind of like play off this more of, or do you think they wouldn't do that?
Maybe. I don't know. I would be completely fine if this movie was a one-off. But if they said a part two,
I'm just
if they
curious.
said it was a part two, I would be interested to see how they do it.
Because when you said like, oh, and that was just the minion, like now I'm curious, like, well, okay, well, what else is out there? What else can they do? You know what I mean? Like now 100%. I'm like, okay, now and maybe that's part of why they did what they did, because it does leave you wanting more. It leaves you wanting more. So as far as
I just downloaded an app called Letterbox where you can like kind of like rank your movies that you watch. I'm not saying people have to go download it, but I did. So I'm going to start ranking my movies. And I want to ask you from a 1 to 5, and you can use quarter scale. So you can say like 2.25, 2.75, 2.50. You know what I mean? Like you can break it down to like quarter numbers.
Okay.
What would you give this movie out of 5 stars or 5 pentagrams?
Ooh, I give it a 4.5.
4.5. Okay.
A solid 4.5.
So for me, 2 is good. 3 is like very good. 4 is like, I would watch this movie again. Like 4 and up is like, they should be hard scores to give out. Like, I think when you review things like food or anything like that, it should be 100%. Like 2 and 3 should be your average. Like 3 is still a great movie, but 4 and 5 is like, you have to really earn that 4 and 5. I feel like people give those too high scales out, but even though you're saying that, I 100% give this a 4.25. This
yeah, 100%.
Like I protect that. Like when I rate beers and stuff, like there's an app just like Letterboxd where you, it's like beer apps, or like a weed app like that where you could rate like 4 is tough for me to give out, or like, but this movie earns that from me.
Well,
like,
what I rank it, the reason I rank it a 4.5 is because I rank it also on movies. When movies give me that edge of my seat feeling, they automatically go to a 4, because there's so many movies nowadays that don't give me that feeling. You know what I mean? So the moment where, like I said to you, this whole entire movie, you're sitting there like, what is going to happen next? Like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? That's when my rating starts going up, because I like not knowing what's going to happen next. You get what I mean? Too many movies.
I never picked up my phone. I never went to go to my phone.
Like movies nowadays, because JB and I watch a ton of movies, and like movies nowadays are so predictable. So predictable. You know what's going to happen. You could, like, even JB and I will be sitting next to each other like, watch, this is what's going to happen. And we'll like take bets, and usually like 80% of the time we're right. Where this one, you didn't know what was going to happen. It was amazing.
Yeah. Even Lisa Tony gave it a 4, ultra rare. Annabelle, I hope I said that right. Annabelle gave it a 4. I mean, I also excited to watch it.
Yes.
Dylan gave it a 4 out of 5. So here's my question that I want to pose to you here at the end. Now I'm an agnostic, atheist, whatever you want to say. I love the occult stuff. Like I have 666 tattoos. I got devil paintings behind me. I like spooky devil occult shit. I lean into it. I when I have a pentagram, it's not because I legit believe that there's an evil entity and I'm rooting for it. I don't believe any. I use the occult to troll Christians because I think they're crazy too. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
but if you were in a situation, right? We want to be famous content people. We want to be famous and have all the money and everything we ever wanted in life, right? Like everyone at some point, like if it was offered to you, would you take it? If the contract was offered to you of like, you have to go and sign your thing here, we're gonna give you everything you ever wanted, everything that everything you thought you wanted, even beyond your wildest dreams, you're gonna get more. Would you take that contract?
No. And I could honestly say that no.
Yeah,
I wouldn't. I wouldn't, because I don't
sign it, because I would not believe in the paranormal aspect of it. But then once again, like in my brain, it's like I would sign it just because I'm like, this is bullshit. Like none of this stuff is real. And then like you're gonna give me money just so you, because I put my name to paper. Like you're gonna take my soul. Like I don't believe that. But then
and that's why you get your soul taken. Yeah, exactly. That's why you get your soul taken.
Like honestly, the scariest part for me would be like, if I put myself in his shoes, like, I would totally sign that contract because I'm a non-believer. But then once this was absolutely presented to me in this fashion of just like this extremism of just pure evil is in front of you, I would be like that's a whole nother layer of fear to me. I'm like, I was wrong about all this.
Well, that's why I think about it, because I always think, like, me personally, like, I think Hollywood is scary. I think it's like filled with pedophiles and it's like filled with some like weird fucking shit. Yeah. And I think like the moment you sign that, you're introduced and you're like put into all that weird shit. And that's why I'm
my
like,
theory too. Like like I said before, the gay agenda, right? If the gay agenda is not deemed as evil, then it's no longer used as a bargaining chip or blackmail.
Yeah.
And like so it's kind of fun that it's going back to that. But now the new blackmail is using younger kids, because there's no saving that. That's the new evil.
Yes. And that's what I mean. That's why I would never want to, like, I don't want to be famous. Being famous seems like it sucks. You know what I mean? Having too much money seems like it sucks. Sorry, but like it does. It seems like
I'll take
sucks.
A little bit.
I mean, a little bit. Hey, listen. Comfortable. I'm fine being comfortable. But some of these people with like 14 rooms and like these huge houses, and it's just them and like their part, like it just seems insane to me. And then I feel like also you're more willing to do weird shit to keep up with that. You get what I'm saying? To keep up with that lifestyle, and you're willing to like do more. And it just seems like a vicious cycle. That's why I would probably be like, nah, I'm good. You're
like, all right, bring on a possessed little girl. I need ratings.
Nope. I'm good. Yeah. But also, let me say this though, because it would come with a price. You get what I mean? Because
I would go in so ignorant to be like, this is all bullshit. There's no.
Yeah, but then what if they kill someone you love?
Yeah. You're gonna die eventually.
Lily,
Mom!
run! Lily,
See you, Mom. I love you.
Your mom and Lily, and Anthony's gonna be high on the hog.
Listen,
And
we've been broke this whole time. I'm gonna be honest. If someone came to me and said, your mom made a deal for a couple billion, you gotta go. Like, you know what? Our family's been poor for long. I'll take that. How we doing it? Make it quick. It's for the greater good. I don't care. This place sucks anyway.
Anthony, don't you dare. No, you wouldn't. Stop
That's my mom. I would do him first. See how I was raised? It's dog eat dog world.
I would do him first.
Yeah. We have dinner tonight was ramen noodle. You know what I'm saying? Like, someone's dying if we can get steak in this house. You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
Yeah. And that's with love.
Someone's dying.
That's with love. That's true love in a family. Like, I'll die so you get a better meal. Like, bro, we have shit cars. You know what I mean? Like, she needs a new car. Like, my life's not worth a car. At least she has a cool ride for a couple months. You know what I mean? Like, you can always make another person. That shit happens all the time. You ever see some of the people who have kids? It's not a hard job.
No, I know. Any idiot could have
not
a
hard
job
to raise them. It's just not hard to make them. You know what I mean? Any idiot.
So funny. Oh my God. Stop it. Oh my God.
Yeah. Real quick, I want to give a quick shout out to Joni. So Joni actually has become a moderator on my TikTok now as well. I started doing lives on TikTok and Joni's been showing love. Joni has been a superstar, teaching me how to do things on social media. Fantastic. I love the support, Joni. Thank you so much.
Joni is amazing. Joni is a mod in my lives, and she does a great job, and I'm so appreciative of her because she does such a good job, and she's just great. Great. I love that.
Went places. I hope everyone enjoyed this episode as much as I have.
We just went some places. Anthony and everybody over there are ready to kill each other for some steak. If the devil walks up with 12 fucking ribeyes, guess what? One of them are going.
Yeah. It's like the episode of Fear Factor where we're all lined up and they're like, who will sacrifice? They will. That's your grandmother. She literally has a good maybe 10 years left. We're hungry. You know what I mean? Like, thanks. Yeah.
Lily said steaks on the table. I mean, if we're talking steak.
Yeah. If you want to save my salvation or Dante's, we have merch pages. We have ways that you could donate so we don't have to sacrifice our grandparents, our mothers, our partners. You know, it's all there. You know, my mom, I would rather lobster. See, my mom's already trading up. You know what I mean?
The devil sells meat door to door for a low price of one soul.
Yeah.
Oh,
they're like the Swanson truck. Remember the Swanson trucks?
Yes.
Yeah. Best fucking corn dogs ever.
It's just the devil driving around. That was the devil.
Yeah.
That was the devil in the Swanson truck.
So much fun.
My God. So
before seafood made my mom makes mean seafood. That the only way she can describe that seafood is that was definitely a recipe from another world.
Devil's food cake, seafood salad made by Satan. Love it.
All merch ideas. All great merch ideas.
Yes.
Oh my God. What did you say today on your video? I'm wearing my Walmart jeans. If you don't like it, eat it or something like that.
Eat me.
Eat me. Yeah. That's the new shirt. Eat me.
I'm gonna. I want it to be like, I don't know, like an angry. I was gonna say like an angry cupcake or something, and it's just like eat me, not an angry cupcake, but maybe just eat me in like green oozy letters or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
I'm looking to make one that says it looks like a gas can and it says fueled by spite. That's I want I want that on a shirt. I need that on a shirt right now.
Oh my God, I love
one more last plug before we get out of here, and it's more of a plug to Shudder. So if you are like, hey, I want to subscribe to Shudder, it's only one movie. Like what? Like you know, is it worth the? You know, I think Shudder's only like $5 or $6 to subscribe to.
Is it?
Yeah, it's really not expensive.
That. Oh my God.
It has so much good movies, and it breaks it down by by slasher or paranormal or supernatural. Like, it's broken down so cool, and there's cool TV shows on there. And one of the shows that I'm obsessed with right now, Where I Met You, we talked about it. It was a drag show. Dragula is a
you said that in my live today that you were watching it.
Oh my god, I'm obsessed. I can't stop. It's drag, but it's fucking horror and punk and filth and just like it's shot like a fucking reality show. So like they go backstage with the drag queens and they're all shitting on each other like, fuck you, bitch, you scumbag. And like, then they're out performing and they're
yeah. Oh my god, I love that you're watching that. Love it.
So fucking good. I don't think I could ever watch another drag show because I Dragula is the cream of the crop to me. Like, I don't know if there's a Dragula scene in our area, but I'll be there every fucking weekend when I get my car. Like, it's so good. It's everything I liked about drag already, and then you just add the punk and the horror on top of it with like awesome special effects makeup. Like, we're on season 2, and the one queen in that show, like, they did like a Hellraiser thing, and like this, it literally looked like they were in the movie. Like, it was so good, and it's just like they don't have a team working on them. It's one person doing all their own makeup and outfits.
I love that you're watching Dragula. I love that so much.
I'm obsessed with it. Like, I'm ending this and going to watch it.
I know I've seen it before, but I've never watched it. Now you have me wanting to. Now I have to check it out because now I'm so curious.
So if you want to watch some other content, myself and Lily did season 1, the entire season.
Yeah,
we streamed it. Yeah, so you can do a watch along with us. Like, we could start at the same time. You can watch.
I forgot you guys did that. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the only problem is we couldn't watch the reunion season for season 1 because it wasn't on Shudder. So like, there's some episodes that were like taken off of Shudder. So like season 2, I'm gonna miss like the second to last episode of the season because it's just not there. But
I wonder.
It's amazing.
Why.
It's so good.
I'm so curious about that.
Yeah, I love it. But that's another plug to Shudder. So if you want to go get this movie because of Shudder, but also we're into the drag community and haven't seen this show, it's 100% worth your subscription because there's that show and there's 5 seasons of it. Then there's like a reunion show. Then there's like another spinoff show. So there's like 4 huge pieces of content with Dragula that just keep you there on top of these really cool independent horror films that you're going to see on there as well.
Yeah, I'm going to check that out.
They have really cool horror documentaries where it's like the 100 scariest movies you'll ever see, and then you watch that, and that gives me ideas for new content. There's one where it's completely based on cursed movie sets where they talk about like movies like The Exorcist and The Poltergeist where really crazy things happen. So there's horror themed documentaries. Like, it's all things horror, but it's Netflix. So like how Netflix has your comedy and your this and that. It's Shudder's the same thing, but it's all horror based. It's 100% worth the subscription.
We have seen a couple because we get Shudder through our Amazon Prime. We get to watch the Shudder movies and stuff, and we've seen a couple of them. I can't think of any at the top of my head, but I do remember a couple of them that we watched that it said Shudder on the bottom, like it like just has their little promo and stuff. But we've definitely seen them.
Great app.
Yeah, I'm gonna check them out more.
So do you have an idea for another movie you want to come back to? It doesn't have to be horror. It could be anything.
Well, why don't you pick one this time? I picked one this time. So why don't you pick the next one?
I can't really think off the top. So while we're doing our plugs, someone in the chat, start putting some things in the chat, and we'll both come to an agreement off your recommendations in the chat of a movie. It does not have to be horror. If you could find it on a streaming service would be a plus. So don't give us some like obscure Italian film that we have to like find a tape on eBay for, you know what I mean? And then we'll open up like a Divic box and now we're possessed ourselves. So give us a few suggestions in the chat. We'll go through
Monster Squad.
Yeah, before
Bodies.
I've never heard of it. I've heard Monster Squad. Rocky Horror. Rocky Horror is definitely one of my favorite movies of all time.
Mean Girls. You've never seen Mean Girls?
I've never seen Mean Girls. I started watching it the other night, and I liked what I've seen so far, but I've never seen. Is Mean Girls on the list?
I have a pen and piece of paper right here. I'm gonna write some of these down.
All right, we'll write down Mean Girls.
I've never seen Monster Squad, so I'm gonna write that down. I've seen Bodies. That's really good.
Everyone, I think Mean Girls is getting a lot of people are saying yes. Mean Girls.
We'll
do this. We'll do Mean Girls and Monster Squad. They'll be the two that we.
Okay.
We'll write Bodies. What is Bodies?
It's like they're all locked in a house. It's really good. It's really, really good. They're like all locked in a house at a party. They start playing like, and then like games and like death happens. It's really, really good. It's really, really good. It's like horror, but like modern horror, but like really good. It's like one of those ones where you kind of don't know who the killer is. You know what I mean? Like where you're guessing who the person is the whole entire time.
Have you ever seen You're Next?
Yes.
That was a good one. All right, I'm trying to find one maybe you haven't seen.
I'll write it down. Well, but I'll have to see.
I'll scroll through some. I'll scroll through some stuff. Monster Squad has one F slur at the beginning. Actually, just a warning. Appreciate that.
Well, now we're not watching it.
Like Dragula has the F slur on like they wear T-shirts of it, which I think is sick. I'm all about taking the power out of words. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the new Strangers is definitely something. Once something new hits the streaming, I'll put another one up for us. But I think for now we'll land on Mean Girls, Monster Squad, and Bodies.
I am down.
We're already locked in for 3 more pieces of content in the near future.
Yes, I'm down.
ABJ and Dante.
Yes.
I'm pumped. This is a lot of fun.
Me too. I agree. So much fun. So much fun. I can't wait for you to watch Mean Girls. Oh my God. I am so excited.
So here's what we'll do. We'll watch Mean Girls.
Okay.
Now that I have a car after this weekend, we should meet up and watch it together.
Okay, 100%. Okay, I'm down.
And then we'll watch it again, like my strategy, where I'll watch it right before I go live.
Okay,
we'll do that. We'll plan a hangout. I get to try, JB's amazing cooking.
Yes, 100%, 100%.
Yeah,
we'll pick. So now, will this be next month?
Yeah, sometime in June. Yeah.
Okay. All right. You just let me know the date and we'll pick a date and you guys can come down and we'll have dinner and we'll watch it. 100%.
Perfect. Yes. We're locked in.
Yes, we are. I'm excited now. So everybody better be here.
Yeah.
One thing I want to plug really, really quick.
Please plug anything you want.
I'm involved in this thing called Pass the Hat. And I just want to tell everyone to go check out Operation Olive Branch. They are a grassroots movement to organize and promote the safety and well-being of Palestinian families. So you can go there and donate $5, spread the word about it, help the families out. But it is a really, really great thing. Aaron Hadamar, who is on TikTok, is trying to get everybody to at least check out Operation Olive Branch. Even if you can't donate, go check it out, read up about it, and it's just to help the families in with what's going on overseas.
Sorry, Destiny's Rusty in the chat.
Okay.
Remember I said was the last episode I wore my Rusty jacket because one of your mods' names was Rusty? Is that Destiny? Is that Destiny saying they're Rusty? Are they two different people?
I don't know. Oh no, I think it is. Rusty, is that you?
That's why I'm just double checking. I didn't
I
want
think so.
Yeah, if that's the case, Destiny, if you haven't watched the last episode,
it is her.
I did.
Hold on, guys, I have to let Flynn in. He's like,
I did. We did on the last episode, but yeah, super cool. Yeah, definitely go check out that link. Everything is linked below with Dante's content. Please go follow Dante on TikTok, all platforms, even YouTube. Right. So let's get more subscribers on the YouTube side because we don't know the future of TikTok, and we need to get Dante popping just as much in other places if TikTok's not a thing.
I'm coming back to YouTube. I have a video in mind. I just haven't filmed it yet, but I have a video in mind that I'm going to be doing. I just don't know when yet. I'm one of those people that builds it up in my head too much, and then like, no, I'll do it next week. No, I'll do it next week. No, I'll do it. I'll get it. I'll get it. Yeah. But I'm gonna do a new video soon. It's gonna be a makeup video where I'm gonna smoke or take a goofy gummy and then like a la Brandy TV, and then I'm gonna try to do a makeup look I'm, I
love that. So I was talking to Lily about I want to try. So like they did the rock episode I just watched on Dragula where they did like 80s glam rock. I said as a joke when I went to my first drag show, I'm like, I'm a huge fan of drag, even though I've never seen one. Like, what do you mean? I'm like, I love Motley Crue. The first time I've ever seen Motley Crue, it was drag. They dressed essentially as in drag and did like the 80s glam, shout at the devil. So I don't think I'll have the balls to do it like on just a stream. it'll definitely have to be like a Halloween setting, because once again, I'm still breaking barriers for myself. You know what I mean? But I want
what better way to break barriers than not to do it on Halloween?
I know.
I'm gonna do it, but it can only be on Halloween. No, you should do it on like fucking July 4th. That's when you should do it. Talk about breaking barriers.
I know, but it's one of those things. Is like when you grow up, you're like, "What year's your period?" Like, "Oh, it's the gay year." You know what I mean? Like, like Halloween gives me the barrier.
You know what, Anthony? Why don't you do it on June 1st? June 1st. The first day of Pride Month. There you go. Talk about breaking barriers.
Yeah,
that's what you should do.
I don't want to say I'm going drag, but I want to do like a glam thing. Like I want to experience guy liner once in my life. I want my hair teased out. I mean, we're doing it. I want to do a Motley Crue look.
Everyone should. Everyone should. Male, female. Everyone should do a rocker glam drag look. Everybody should.
One of my
Thank you for subbing, wrestling podcast.
Sorry, one of the cool things I was asking on the one is like, is there straight heterosexual dudes in drag? And then, well, they weren't straight heterosexual, but they were oh my god, I'm so sorry, I'm not trying to be insensitive, I'm learning, I promise. Like pansexual, where they're married, have kids, the whole nine, but like they're also drag performers, but they're married to a woman, but they do drag. And I was like, that's a cool dynamic. I didn't know that was a thing. Like, so like the drag show stuff is teaching me so much stuff I didn't know, terminology. I'm, you know,
okay. Well, first of all, I was gonna say, because pansexual isn't
pan like you're in anything, like it's open spectrum.
Yeah, but that doesn't. Yeah,
I'm learning. I'm sorry,
but that doesn't mean okay. So pansexual means that like you don't look at the person's gender. You're in love with the person.
Got you.
That's what that means. But yeah, that doesn't have anything to do with drag.
Well, I thought like this is my closed-minded dude. Like, that drag isn't made for certain groups of people. Like I didn't know if it was open for every. You know what I mean? Like I'm learning. You know,
Maddie Morphosis is a straight queen. Yes, 100%. Go look up Maddie Morphosis.
Okay,
she's a straight queen. And then I love how Very Berry put wrestling isn't that far off in a lot of ways.
Oh, it's definitely not. I've learned that so much. Wrestling is so gay, but it's awesome. Like growing up, I thought wrestling was like super masculine dudes. Like, and then I got into the wrestling business. I'm like, wait, am I the only like almost straight guy here? Like, there's only like 3 of us. You know what I mean? Wrestling is definitely a very big community in that aspect, and I love it because I'm learning so much. But
oh my god, it's so funny.
This is super educational for myself.
But my god, you're learning so much.
I am.
Talk about breaking barriers.
We're breaking them down. Every episode we get a little high and then we talk about craziness. Not craziness, about real world stuff that people should learn.
We talk about breaking down your barriers.
Yeah.
June 1st.
Yeah. That was a thing too. Maybe these movies, I'm not saying put them on hold, but one of the things I wanted to do for June is all of my movies that I do are all the stuff I want them to be LGBTQ style movies. Like if it's done by an LGBTQ director or the movie has LGBTQ themes to it. So like so maybe these 3 get held off unless they fit the criteria, but I was already Googling like horror movies and movies that are, you know, like Chucky is done by the guy who creates Chucky is a member of the community. So I'm thinking for maybe the entire month of June, like any movie or music reviews we do are all themed to the community.
That's a good idea. That's a really, really good idea. Really good idea. Okay. Great idea. Great. Yep. Love that.
Yeah. Mean Girls has a gay character. Actually, the gay character in Mean Girls is probably the main reason why I'd go back and watch it, because they were fucking hilarious.
That is a really good idea, though.
So maybe we'll find Chucky could be the one we add to that list, because I think that's it. I don't think I went back and rewatched the first Chucky in a long time.
No, me either. Yeah. I mean, I have to say though, maybe a couple years, because when they were coming out with the Chucky TV show, they played all the Chuckies. And I remember watching them straight through, but that was like a couple years ago. So I don't even really remember. I mean, that was a lot of Benjamins ago. So I don't really remember too much of it. And plus, like the first 3 for me, I don't know why, but they always blend together. I don't know why. Like I remember certain parts of the movie, and then I think they're the one movie. But I am totally down for Chucky.
I think Chucky 1 is the entire movie is essentially in an apartment. I don't think they really leave the apartment the entire time.
In the first one?
I think so, yeah. I think it's completely shot in an apartment. They didn't ruin Chucky, Mom. old woman screaming at clouds. But anyway, thank you so much for your time. I loved it. Everyone who tuned in, I appreciate you all so much.
Yes, thank you guys.
If you're listening to this back later in your car on the audio platform, or if you're watching this and want to listen to more content on your drive to work, check out the ABJ podcast. Everything that we essentially do here is also available on all your favorite podcast apps. So those audio plays do help out a lot. Leave a review, or if your app that you're watching doesn't have a 5-star review or a way to do that. I know Spotify, I added a question of like, give us like a feedback question that you can put stuff in there. If anyone starts leaving those, I will read them out on the next previous episode, so we can do that. Also, take a screenshot on your phone and then like post it on social media and be like, hey, just listen to this episode with Dante and Anthony. Here's what I thought of it. Because the word of mouth is essentially how this is going to grow. And I think the more word of mouth that gets out there and people legitimately saying why they love something, is like we did with this movie, is what's going to make more people support those movies. And then we don't have to sell our souls when those Bohemian Grove checks come, because you guys have our back so much. They're like, sorry, devil, we don't need it. I can afford our own steak and lobster. My mom can stick around a couple more months. You know what I'm saying? So stay supportive to your
you could stay around a couple more months? She's taking your ass out. She's going to be sitting here on this podcast with me eating her steak. Me and her are going to be sitting here reviewing movies.
Listen, I think she's in the other room now, so she can't hear me, so I know she's not watching downstairs. But I think just you teaching my mom pronouns would be an hour worth of content I would watch all day long. She's trying so hard, but she's terrible.
Well, first of all, I'm gonna have to learn them too.
Yeah. My mom is a school county woman through and through. But anyway, yes. So thank you guys so much. We love the support. Make sure you go check out all Dante's links as well as mine. More is coming. You guys keep asking for it, keep demanding it, being super supportive. We love working with each other. It's a match. It's a match made in heaven.
100%.
We're gonna have a lot more in the future. We'll see you guys on the next one. Here's some music by the Converse Kid, and we'll see you soon.